Hello, everyone, and welcome to Life with the Weathersbys. I'm Darnell Weathersby, and this is my wife.
Hi, it's Charnel.
So, we want to come to you today talking about the topic of how do you support one another during the different seasons of life. If one thing Charnel and I have had a chance to do over the course of the years from season to season is be able to be flexible in supporting one another as life happens, whether it's children being born, whether it's job relocation. We've had many opportunities, and by the grace of God, I feel like we've been able to navigate them successfully on just being able to adjust on the fly and supporting one another from season to season.
And I know we've been checking in with you guys throughout the home lockdown here with COVID-19.
Right.
And it has been just awesome to hear from you and to just be praying with you because we know everybody's household is dealing with various different challenges. And so as we've talked about, Darnell and I've had the opportunity to just communicate more and to just get on the same page since we've got more face-to-face time.
Yes.
But life continues to happen. So professionally, both Darnell and I still have our business that we're running. Darnell is still administrating at the high school. And so throughout our marriage, we've always found ways to support each other. And even more so now. And I love it because a couple of days ago, we had the opportunity to just really sit down and talk as a couple about our vision. And since day one, we're going on 15 years of marriage.
Yes, praise
in
God.
June.
Praise God.
And since day one, we've always set a vision for what we want our marriage to stand for,
Yes.
because we know that as individuals, God has placed us here on earth for a purpose. And our individual purposes are necessary, but the minute that we came together as Team Weathersby, as
Yes.
husband and wife,
Yes.
we know that our marriage also has greater purpose as a ministry to others.
Yes.
So it was a good opportunity just to kind of level set and to get on the same page about what our individual goals have been and then how things are going in our respective jobs.
Right. I think one thing that's vital is being able to play to each other's strengths. Chanel and I have what you would like to call untraditional or non-traditional strengths, in the sense of she brings things to the table that the average woman may not bring to the table. And I know as a man, I've found myself from one season to the next being able to say, wow, I can be prideful and try to be the man, or I can utilize her strengths to make our household better, to make our family better, to make our marriage better. So I know there are several times and over the course of the last 15 years, whether it's dealing with finances or dealing with parenting decisions, where she's an extremely intelligent and well-rounded individual. And I had choices to make where I could say, I can make it on my own and be the man, or I can say to my beautiful wife, what are your thoughts? What are your vision? And tap into that skill set, tap into that resource so that we are all blessed as a result. So there's many opportunities where sometimes you play non-traditional roles, whether it's cleaning the kitchen at night. That's one I like to do because she's such a great cook. Some men would say, I'll never clean the kitchen. But do what needs to be done. Don't get caught up in whose job description or role it is. Just be willing to do what's best for your marriage and do what's best for your household.
Yeah, and I would say that we haven't always been so smooth and confident
Correct.
how that looks in our household. I think that through many heated discussions
Yes.
or times of heated fellowship, we've had to
Yes,
come to
yes.
this understanding that it's okay for us to step out. It's okay for us to step out of what are like traditional roles that most people
Right.
think that, the husband does this and the wife does this and that's the way it's supposed to work.
Right.
But that doesn't always work for us.
Correct.
And,
Correct.
at the end of the day, you have to do what works best for each other.
Yes.
So we've had to learn what works for Darnell and his style, what works for Charnel in my style, and how does it best come together so that we can
Yes.
not drive each other crazy.
Yeah.
And also get the results that we need to get done in the household. And so I think that we've had to learn through trial and tribulation over the years and get a good rhythm, and it changes.
Yes.
Gotta be flexible. When children came into the picture, things started to change in how we spent time, and early on in our marriage, I would manage our finances. But as I started to travel more with my job and had other demands than just raising the children when they were young, right. I just couldn't do that anymore. So Darnell picked that up. Yes. And at the time, it was a strength for me, and it was something that Darnell didn't necessarily want to do, but he stepped up to the plate and said, hey, right. we're going to figure this out, and we're going to keep going. And I loved that because, one, I didn't have to do that anymore, right. But I just remember early on, I had to come to grips that his style of getting the finances done was going to be different from how I wanted them to be done. Correct.
Not wrong, but different.
Not wrong, but different.
Yes.
So, but that took some time because it didn't benefit me to sit over his shoulder and say, hey, did you do this? Did you do it that way? Well, why didn't you do it this way? Because we've always done it this way. Right. That doesn't benefit anybody at the end of the day. And so that is something that we had to learn over time.
Yes.
And then even just switching gears, even here recently over the past couple of weeks, like I said, we've had so many different shifts in our schedules and how we do things. Yes. And so it's been apparent that we hold each other accountable and that we keep going. So we're homeschooling our children right now, which is new to both of us. Yes. But at the same time, I have some significant goals and deadlines in my business.
Yes, with SoMe.
Yes. And then also there's some significant deadlines and mile marks that Darnell has in managing what he does. And so we had to be very honest with each other about what needs to get done in the household, right. but also how I needed his support from an accountability standpoint, that I was not going to put my goals and things that needed to get done on the wayside so that I could show up for my kids and show up for the household. It all needed, for me, it's all priority.
Correct.
Nothing weighs more than the other. For me, in the way that I was thinking about it, is it all needs to get done.
Correct.
And it was all important to me, but I needed Darnell to not only hold me accountable, but to support. So whether that means, hey, babe, can you make sure that dinner gets on the table tonight?
Right.
Because I need a couple more hours in the office to work on this.
Yes.
And then when I'm done working on it, I need your support in looking at it and just being there. So, what are some ways that you may think that I'm supporting you this week?
Well, I think just, for example, with everything going crazy and just being very out of sorts, if you will, and not the norm with education. My job description as an assistant principal, after a couple of hours, I have to head out to the school to help facilitate passing out resources for families in need. That requires flexibility on Chanel's part. So not making me feel guilty about that, not making me feel like I'm not being engaged and locked in with the family, but supporting me to go out, do what I need to do. But then when I do come back, put that dad hat back on, put that husband hat back on, and be engaged and be present and be available. So I think some of that is just flexibility, not making me feel guilty about what I need to do and vice versa. Me not making her feel guilty about the different hats she wears, but being able to support her as she navigates the business, being able to support her and get food on the table and not make her feel guilty, even though cooking, the Lord knows, is not my strength. But I'm willing to step up to the plate because I know it's extremely important for her to get done what she needs to get done. And it's my privilege and honor to do that and be that for her. So I just think from day to day, from season to season, as husband and wife, my goal is to see her shine and her goal is to see me shine. And if we're being a student of one another and studying one another and supporting one another, then our marriage wins every day. And some days are easier than others. But if she knows my heart and she can trust my heart is to support her and see her thrive, and I can trust her heart to know that she wants to see me thrive and be successful, then I don't have to look out for myself because she's looking out for me, and she doesn't have to look out for herself because I'm looking out for her. So I think that's one thing that God has blessed us through trial and error over the last 15 years, is to know I can trust her with everything that's in me, and she can do the same. We've been able to navigate and get to that level of maturity by the grace of God. So, yes.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, a lot of this comes back to communication.
Yes.
And just being on the same page every day about each other, but also as a team. Team Weathersby is our mantra, because we believe that, as a team, there's individual players, absolutely, yes. But the team has to come together for the greater goal.
Correct.
And we have that understanding. Yes. And like I said, we've had to learn through trial and error over the years of what works and what's the right rhythm. But communication at the center of that, prayer, and just keeping God on the throne in our marriage, and just setting our own individual interests and pride aside, if you will, through it all, just being honest with each other, has allowed us to come from a place and a heart of supporting each other at the end of the day. And sometimes the support looks lovingly and so forth, but sometimes it's hard, right? Like sometimes, Darnell has to put me back on the right track because I'm not being honest with myself, and then vice versa. I have to be the honest person with him. And that push and pull of supporting each other through the years has been our bread and butter. It's been part of our foundation as a couple. So as COVID-19 and just being in a lockdown in a home continues to it might shake a little bit of our schedules and things like that. I'm thankful that our foundation and how we support each other is solid, because it's just a maneuver and it's a pivot, despite all the things that continue to be thrown at us. So I'm thankful for that, babe.
Yes.
All right, loves. We are so excited to just continue to connect with you. Drop us a line. Let us know how we've been able to help you, how we can pray for you, and we'll be with you next time. Take care. Bye.
All right.